Parabolic Trough solar collectors are the most mature and prospective concentrated solar panel technologies out there in the market. Today I'm going to be talking about all about it, what they are, what's the pros and cons, the working design, the components, principle, whether they are worth it or active, inactive into today's technology. So make sure to watch the whole video so you don't miss out. My name is Ahmed Suhail and you're watching Solar for You. So what is a parabolic trough solar collectors? They're basically solar collectors that are curved mirrors, and they focus the sunlight onto a pipe that is filled with fluid. So basically this fluid is then heated at higher temperatures, which then creates steam to power the turbines and generate electricity. The parabolic trough solar collector's design is created in a way that the shape of the collector, being parabolic, it captures a larger area of the sun's radiation, which then is used to reflect it onto the absorber or receiver, which is a component of the solar collector. So basically it's going to be used to then heat up the fluid and then used to transfer the thermal energy. But overall this is used to help direct more sunlight and to increase the better use of the heat transfer. Now, working on to the components, there are three types of components for the parabolic trough solar collectors. The first one is the absorber slash receiver. So once the solar collectors reflect the sunlight onto the absorber or receiver, they are centered at the middle, the absorber receiver, the center of the solar collectors, and they're positioned in a way that making sure the mass, the size, and the positioning doesn't affect or hinder the amount of sunlight it receives. And it's connected to the solar tracking system to monitor the sun alongside the dish. So it's connected to this solar tracking system, and from that, of course, there's the second type of component is the parabolic dish reflector, which is the outermost area. And there also be taken into consideration there's also different types of the solar collectors, and they're arranged as close as possible, but it's important to have them arranged in a way that you don't collide with each other. They don't collide with each other. Protect the collectors from getting heat, or reducing the maintenance, making sure the heat transfer fluid in the pipe is the heat transfer is minimized, and to reducing any other parasitic capacity that's being involved. So that's what the arrangement should be for the parabolic trough solar collectors. Now there are three main types of the parabolic trough solar collectors that are used, so different types of materials. The first type is the silvered glass mirror, which basically helps to reflect more light, making it the best type of mirror to use, and they're less likely to tarnish over time, meaning they will look shiny and new for longer periods of time. The second type is the anodized sheet aluminum reflectors. Now these are also a good choice for radiation reflection because it's less expensive than the other types, and they basically offer high durable efficiency and effective choice for thermal applications. The third type is the silvered polymer reflectors. They're basically reflectors that use several layers of polymers itself with an inner layer of pure silver, and they can reflect up to 95% of the light that hits them. So they improve the efficiency, and they're very easily and readily available in the market for these types of solar collectors. Also a reflector tracking system that the solar collectors use to achieve maximum sunlight. There are two types of the solar tracking systems. They can be either active, motorized, or passive. So the active systems, they use a motor electronic signal to rotate the collector, and from these active trackers there are two types as well, the open loop and closed loop. In the closed loop trackers, they are more common and basically set in motors and sensors that keep the mirrors aligned with the sun at all times. For the open loop trackers, they rely on feedback from the sun to maintain the alignment. Now passive systems, on the other hand, they rely on the sun's movement, thermosulfidin effect, to rotate the collector, and they have no motors, gears, or any other moving parts. So basically they rely on the natural direction of the wind to turn the turbine and generator power. So this type of tracker is obviously less expensive than an active tracker, but it's not really efficient and effective when it comes to getting the maximum power of the sun radiation to get to power the turbine. To the support structure of the parabolic trough solar collectors, there are mainly of three types, right? The first type is the main support. The main support is basically a vertical metal bar that is extending from the collector to the ground, and this primary supporting structure is made up of steel or aluminum tubes that are welded together to form a metal bar. And this metal bar is then bolted to the ground, making sure that the system is rigid and secure from any other weather conditions being faced. Now the frame, which is being the metal grid that the mirrors attached to, they help maintain the rigidity and the parabolic shape of the system, and this component also acts as a channel to transmit the torque from the tracking system to the collector system, right? And so that's the second part, the frame. The third part is the receiver brackets. They're basically a metal brackets that attach to the reflector mirrors and hold them into place. So, and to reduce the losses between the receiver that is located in the center and the located at the center of the parabolic trough and the bracket holding in place, an insulating material is used between them. So basically, the supporting structure, it supports the parabolic collector, the components, the tracking system, and the motor that powers it, so making sure alignment of the solar reflector stays consistent with the sun. On to the working fluid slash working gas. The working gas of the parabolic trough solar collectors is a fluid that flows through the collector and absorbs the heat from the sun. The working gas in the tube is heated by the sun and flows to a heat exchanger where it transfers its heat to water, which is used to generate power. Of course, the most common working fluids for parabolic trough solar collectors are water and air, but other fluids such as helium can also be used. Of course, the main advantage of using water as a working fluid is that it's a renewable resource, so it can be available very easily. The disadvantage, however, is that it can evaporate, which can cause the system to lose efficiency. Air is also a good advantage, being non-volatile, but it is also less efficient than water because it can only absorb a limited amount of heat. Helium, being the best excellent working fluid for parabolic trough solar collectors, they operate at a temperature of 700 Kelvin and below. Moving on to the heat engine, which is an external combustion engine that heats and cools a working gas sealed in a cylinder. It then converts the thermal energy to kinetic energy. Of course, the heat engine can be operated independently by using a heat transfer fluid from the receiver, and the most common types of heat engines for parabolic trough solar collectors are the Stirling engines and the Brayton cycle engine. Parabolic trough solar collectors have manufacturing errors that exist within systems, such as shape error. The shape of the parabolic solar collectors, misalignment or any other misadjustment cause the loss of the focal line, making it very hard to achieve these maximum sun efficiency. Second is a slope error for the receiver, or the accuracy, if there's any ripples or bumps in the parabolic solar collectors itself, making it very difficult to achieve maximum sunlight. And the third thing is the receiver deviation error. So if the receiver is a measure of the misalignment between the receiver and the focal line, this misalignment can be caused by a number of factors, including the movement of the receiver or the atmospheric conditions and reflections. Speculatory error, that's caused by optical error, by the light reflections from the mirror, or due to the imperfections and distortions of the radiations. Next is the tracking deviation. The solar tracking also has errors that are not perfectly pointed in precision to the sun. Several misalignment of the reflectors, shading, or nearby objects, making it not so efficient at times due to misalignment. Next is frame deformation. These is due to the subject or the weight of the loads at all times, and making it to collapse or not be as strong, but nevertheless they should be designed for such cases. Moving on to the pros of the parabolic trough solar collectors, they are eco-friendly and low emission. They don't really generate much carbon dioxide, making it more eco-friendly, easy to manufacture and maintain, so low manufacturing cost, low maintenance and operation cost, hence longer lifespan. Speaking of longer lifespan, they can actually operate for up to 25 years, making it very easy to maintain and more reliable, so there's not much maintenance needed. However, the cons of the solar collectors involve having a sun tracker as a must, in order to achieve the maximum efficiency. That has to be there. It's a must. The cost of electricity is high, right? It's gonna be high because of the coal solar collectors being, cheapest. The construction and installation costs can also be high, because having them installed through labor work and having them installed is going to be also expensive, but they'll be paid back. It will be paid back through the savings of the energy that will be generating. So I'm going to end this video with a fun fact, with a solar collector fact. How hot can it get? How hot can the solar collectors generate when reflecting the sun's radiation to the receiver? They can actually generate temperatures ranging from 750 degrees Celsius to 1000 degrees Celsius. That's how hot it can generate, and this is why it's beneficial, being implemented. It should be implemented, as governments should provide these schemes into open projects, large scale solar power plants for use for many other applications like mentioned. And overall, that's what it is about Parabolic Trough solar collectors. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what else I should make in the future videos. Till then, till next time, take care, stay safe, bye bye.